Will indeed stay very wet and very stormy. We're still tracking the very same storm system that we've been monitoring for most of the week. It continues to slowly slip its way across the Midwest, and this front is definitely serving as the focus point for more showers and storms. We're actually finding that anywhere north of the front we have the cooler air, but the very warm, sticky air south of that front, and it was so warm yesterday several record highs were set, including Hill City, Kansas up to 96. Then we had a record high at St. Louis at 93 degrees. So again, a big clash of the air masses, and that's setting the stage for the showers and the thunderstorms. We do have clusters of showers and storms breaking out this morning from western Kansas and now rubbling their way across parts of Iowa and across west central parts of Illinois. And we think those thunderstorms will eventually slide over towards Chicago a little bit later on today, so brace yourselves for that. A very stormy, very unsettled time from Kansas City back through Indianapolis. It will be rough during the afternoon. Rick? Heading off to work this morning, there are some travel headaches out there, and we'll check out traveling conditions from coast to coast coming up.
Let's take a look at the New York City.
Eastward over through the mid-Atlantic states, a large chunk of real estate has a picture. Indeed, there continues to be some sloppy conditions. We're seeing some rain this morning for the central Appalachians over through the mid-Atlantic. The rain continues for Danville and for Lynchburg, Virginia. We've had some sloppy weather too around Norfolk on into Wilmington and right around Cape Hatteras this morning, and several clusters of showers and thunderstorms too building across the nation's midsection. Well, the very same areas that have been rather hard hit overnight will continue to see more showers and more thunderstorms through the afternoon. And that's because our storm system is very stubborn, very slow to move out, maybe slowly drifting off towards the south and east throughout the afternoon. But more showers and more thunderstorms erupting throughout the day, especially from Colorado, spreading back towards Kansas. And a lot of showers and thunderstorms, too, really picking up in earnest around the Ohio Valley through the afternoon. And some of these showers and storms will likely be putting out locally heavy amounts of rain, perhaps an inch or more of rainfall in some places. And with the atmosphere very, very volatile, very unstable, there's a very high likelihood of seeing strong to severe thunderstorms. Now, we're not really forecasting so much the threat for tornadoes because the upper air wind flow is not quite that favorable for that. But there will certainly be the case for some large hail, gusty winds, and certainly too some torrential rains with some of these showers and storms as they sweep across the Midwest. So be on guard today, places like Chicago, Indianapolis, Kansas City, St. Louis, even southward towards Oklahoma City and the Texas Panhandle. A large swath of the country has a chance to see some very stormy conditions. But that will not be the case for most of the Northeast. Not looking too bad today for Philadelphia, for Boston, and for New York City. A little unsettled, though, for the Carolinas, but you're sitting high and dry from Dallas all the way over towards Atlanta and for Tampa Bay. Heavy showers and strong thunderstorms, though, working their way across the Midwest through the afternoon, but the weather calms down as we head westward into California. And now for more about travel conditions, here's Rick. Anchored across southern Europe will provide another beautiful day throughout the Mediterranean Ocean, from Madrid back through Rome. Likewise for Athens, plenty of sunshine on tap for tomorrow. But we're seeing the rains picking up for places like Paris and Frankfurt.
Stay with us.
Back to this edition of First Outlook, I'm Cheryl Lemke.
And I'm Rick Griffin. Thanks a lot for tuning in. In the 7-day planner, we'll see if there's any rain in the forecast for Florida. Safe to say, though, this morning it's another dry start to the day with fair skies. And let's take a look at the current weather.
It is cool and basically dry across most of New England and across a large part of the northeastern states. We're still tracking a little area of high pressure that remains nestled across the northeast, keeping it high and dry for most locales. So overall, not looking too bad today from Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, Massachusetts, all the way southward towards Maryland. I'll tell you what, though, where it's been exceptionally wet has been parts of West Virginia. We're tracking a frontal boundary snaking its way around the Ohio Valley and the central Appalachians, and it continues to set off some scattered showers this morning from Beckley and Bluefield, West Virginia, on into Roanoke and Richmond, Virginia, and scattered showers, too, pressing in across the Carolinas. But I'll tell you what, the rain across West Virginia quite heavy since late last night, and we're still seeing some flood warnings in effect for Boone County in West Virginia. Now, the rain showers much lighter in variety as they spread their way across North Carolina this morning. But at any rate, grab the rain gear around Raleigh, Durham. More scattered showers, too, coming into play around the Wilmington area. But the rest of the southeast remains high and dry, not a raindrop to be found. But the showers and thunderstorms will be increasing today across parts of the Midwest. Here we're still tracking this very slow, stubborn moving front. As it meanders its way across parts of Kansas and back through Iowa, it's been the breeding ground for some showers and some thunderstorms. And we're really seeing a big clash of the air masses. Much cooler on the north side of this storm system, very warm, very muggy on the south side of this storm system. A clash of the air masses, and strong thunderstorms will be ensuing as we continue throughout the day across the nation's midsection. But where it's not going to be stormy is parts of the northeast. We'll likely see partly to mostly sunny skies this afternoon for New York City, dry conditions across Long Island, and not too bad around the Boston metro area. Partly sunny skies likely for you later on today with your high temperatures near 59. It stays rather cool, cloudy, gray, and dismal, though, for parts of the mid-Atlantic. There will be a chance for some rain showers south and west of Washington, D.C., and more sloppy weather, too, for Norfolk on into Roanoke and Richmond, Virginia. Maybe some scattered showers and thunderstorms, too, popping up for the Charlotte area. But again, where we really need the rain, like in parts of Georgia and Florida, we're simply not seeing any rainfall at all through the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies for Atlanta, and the summer heat continues to bake the south with highs near 90 for Atlanta, in the mid to upper 80s, though, for Tampa. Lots of warm, toasty weather, too, for Dallas and Houston and San Antonio, Texas. A lot of you seeing highs upper 80s to mid-90s during the afternoon. And right along that frontal boundary, big-time thunderstorms popping up from the Texas Panhandle, with more strong thunderstorms, too, eventually targeting Kansas City and St. Louis. Chicago, too, you'll likely get into the act, and those strong thunderstorms rumbling their way back towards Indianapolis and Cincinnati later this afternoon. On the north side of our storm system, though, things will be clearing out today. What a pretty day for Minneapolis. Some sunshine, highs in the mid-70s, so quite comfortable for the Twin Cities. But what can we expect for the next 7 days? For
the next several days, so it stays dry, but the sunshine stays.
Once again, it's been feast or famine as far as the rainfall is concerned.
The first outlook for this Thursday, May 17th. I'm Rick Griffin.
And I'm Cheryl Lemke. Checking the time, it's now 5:30 for Boston and 4:30 for Chicago. Let's begin by checking out the weather across the morning. It's going to be a dry morning rush hour from Portland, Maine to Boston, on into New York City. Same story, too, for Pittsburgh and for Philadelphia. And it's a little wonder because we have high pressure parked right across the northeast. The high pressure is acting like a protective dome, and it's really inhibiting any rain from forming. So again, most of us will stay high and dry through the afternoon. However, that has not been the case, though, for parts of the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Appalachians, and the Mid-Atlantic. Much like we've seen for the last couple of days or so, there's an old front that's meandering its way from the Midwest, trailing back towards the southeastern states, and that front continues to be setting off some scattered showers and thunder showers this morning. And in some cases, we had some locally heavy amounts of rain. In fact, we will likely see more heavy rains, especially hard-hit parts of the Ohio Valley on into West Virginia. And we've had so much rain that places like Raleigh County, back over towards the Beckley and Bluefield area of West Virginia, there's a flood warning out this morning back over through Boone County. Some excessive rain since late last night. And on top of those heavy soaking rains, perhaps another inch to about 2 inches of rain cannot be ruled out through the afternoon. So at least the Ohio Valley will see some very wet conditions. But for the rest of the Northeast, precipitation will be a sparse commodity. And looking at temperatures this morning, they range from a nippy 41 degrees at Caribou, Maine, to a very balmy 64 degrees for Cincinnati. In between, though, it's 56 for Pittsburgh, 60 for Buffalo, and 53 degrees this hour for New York City. For most of the Northeast, again, not too much happening today. A mix of clouds and sunshine will be the rule from Boston on into Hartford, Philadelphia, and for New York City. But watching out for the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic, it's gray, cloudy, and overcast through the afternoon. And some of these thunderstorms, especially back through the Ohio Valley, will be quite strong through the afternoon. Well, what about the southeastern states? For more about that, we have a variety of weather conditions going on across the nation's midsection, ranging from cool and dry to the north to warm and sticky and stormy across parts of the south. In fact, right now from Kansas back through Iowa and now spreading into west central portions of Illinois, there's been a band of thunderstorms breaking out this morning, and these have been rather nasty for parts of Illinois, at least prompting some severe thunderstorm warnings earlier this morning. So what can we expect throughout the day? Well, our storm system will slowly be slipping its way towards the south and the east, and as it does, we'll likely be seeing some showers and thunderstorms popping up through later this afternoon. And those thunderstorms could be spawning some bad thunderstorms, as we were mentioning. We'll likely see some of the intense weather eventually sliding over through Chicago and perhaps affecting Indianapolis a little bit later on this afternoon. Temperatures, right now it's 52 for Marquette, 57 for Minneapolis, 68 though for Des Moines, Iowa, and still holding in the 70s for Kansas City and for St. Louis at this time. Now through the afternoon, again, strong thunderstorms a good bet, especially right along that frontal boundary, so be on guard for that from Kansas City through St. Louis, Quincy, Moline, Illinois, even back through Cincinnati and Columbus, Ohio. The weather really takes a turn for the worse later on today. Behind the storm system, though, nice clearing. A pretty day for Green Bay back through Minneapolis. Some sunshine. Temperatures mid-70s, so quite comfortable during the afternoon. Rick?
On First Outlook, I'll look at where you'll find weather-related travel headaches on this Thursday.
We'll be right back after this. thunderstorms will be in abundance for today. The bottom line, it's going to be a tough storms. We've had quite a bit of that breaking out since late last night. Still some very wet conditions around portions of the mid-Atlantic, mainly from around Quantico through Norfolk on into the Tidewater area, with more scattered showers too developing this morning for Raleigh-Durham, streaming back towards Wilmington, North Carolina. Then we've also had several clusters of showers and thunderstorms too breaking out across the nation's midsection. And be on guard because some of these across the plain states this morning have been fairly strong in nature. Well, throughout the day, our pesky storm system is not really going to be budging very quickly. If anything, it may slowly sag towards the south during the afternoon, but as it does slowly drift its way across the heartland, it will certainly serve as a focus point for more showers and storms. And these showers and thunderstorms may be causing some severe weather today. We think the primary threat will be large, damaging hail, very gusty winds, and of course, too, some torrential downpours. And speaking of heavy rain, overnight we had some heavier rains breaking out in parts of West Virginia. Still lots of flash flood warnings out around the state, including Boone and Raleigh County. Some heavier rains occurring across this area. For the northeastern states, though, not looking too bad in comparison. Mainly a dry scenario from New York State through Massachusetts. Pretty quiet, too, this morning over parts of I-95 northbound from Boston. But around the Carolinas, keep a watchful eye to the sky. You'll likely be dodging more scattered showers or thunderstorms through the afternoon. But it's dry today for Atlanta and Birmingham, and not a raindrop to be found either for Dallas or for Houston. A very stormy time, though, across the Midwest, with some really strong ones likely for Chicago, Indianapolis, and St. Louis later this afternoon. But the weather likely calms down, though, as we head farther towards the west. And now for more about travel conditions, here's Rick. Morning concerns the use of seat belts during a flight. And you may be amazed at the number of injuries received by not wearing them. Good morning. It's now 10 minutes before the top of the hour, and it's time now for Storm Watch. Well, flooding, rains, and severe thunderstorms have really been making weather headlines for most of this week, and today is no exception. Let's check out where we still have the possibility to see more strong to locally severe thunderstorms during the afternoon. Well, there's a large chunk of real estate today that will likely be affected by those vicious thunderstorms. From the central Rockies through the central plain states and stemming back through the Ohio Valley and parts of the Appalachians, very strong thunderstorms are likely in this area. And especially be on guard, though, in this zone from Texas streaming back through Illinois, Indiana, and parts of Ohio. Here you're in the red zone. So that means the atmosphere is quite unstable and very conducive for the possibility for severe thunderstorms. And by severe weather, we mean the possibility for large damaging hailstones, perhaps some torrential downpours, lots of vivid, dangerous lightning too, and some very gusty winds will likely accompany some of these showers and thunderstorms. Now, along with that too, heavy rain is a possibility. And actually, since last night, we've had some heavier rain breaking out over parts of West Virginia and Ohio. And now we have flood warnings out for places like Boone and Mercer counties back through West Virginia. Generous rains here, well over 2 and 3 inches of rain since last night, and more soaking rains yet to come. And so with the ground fairly saturated and more showers and more thunderstorms breaking out throughout the course of the day, we'll certainly have to watch out for more localized flooding as more heavy rains sweep in across the Midwest and work their way over towards the mid-Atlantic states. This morning, quite a bit of cloud coverage across parts of the plain states. More clouds, too, are sweeping in across the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley area. And these bright white clouds, indicative of where we have some stronger thunderstorms taking place this morning. Some fairly intense thunderstorms, in fact, for parts of Iowa, and more stronger thunderstorms now bearing down on parts of central Illinois. And we have some warnings out, actually, for Peoria, for Knox, and for Fulton counties, as some strong thunderstorms are making some inroads across the state of Illinois. Now, the culprit behind all this very stormy, very unsettled weather continues to be a storm system that's been taking its good old sweet time working its way across the plain states. The front now slicing its way from the lower lakes and kind of snaking its way southward across the Carolinas. And this front is actually serving as the demarcation line between the cooler air to the north and the warm, sticky air down across the south. And it's been so warm that we had several record highs that were set yesterday, like around St. Louis, up to 93 degrees yesterday, and Hill City, Kansas was topping out near 96. So again, a sharp contrast in the air masses, and that is helping to fuel those showers and those thunderstorms. In contrast, though, the Northeast is not looking too bad for your Thursday. Dry weather will be the rule today for Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and pretty quiet today, too, for Philadelphia and for New York City, so get out and enjoy. But again, around the Ohio Valley, not quite so lucky. Some showers breaking out here, and we've had some very heavy rains thus far for parts of West Virginia. Now the rain kind of tapering off for West Virginia. Some of the heavier rains are shifting a little bit farther towards the south. Some pretty good soaking rains, though, just to the west of Roanoke, and that moisture will eventually slide over towards North Carolina. Now across the southeast, a smattering of showers for the Carolinas, but the rest of you will stay high and dry through the afternoon. The showers and thunderstorms, though, picking up in earnest across the Midwest. And although not a whole lot of activity just yet for Indiana, watch out. These strong thunderstorms will eventually work over towards Indianapolis and eventually, too, for Cincinnati later this afternoon. And out towards the west, pretty nice for Washington State and for Oregon, but a few spotty showers and storms cannot be ruled out for the Intermountain West. By far, though, the most active spot today continues across the Plain States. The showers and thunderstorms slowly pressing off towards the east. And again, these will likely spawn some severe weather and some very heavy flooding downpours. And now let's check out the forecast, though, for the upcoming. And your local forecast is coming up right around the corner. Don't go away.
Good morning. I'm Chris Jansing. Imus In The Morning is up next, but first a check of the day's headlines. President Bush officially unveils his long-awaited energy plan today. It contains recommendations on how to boost
Outlook for this Thursday, May 17th. I'm Rick Griffin.
And I'm Cheryl Lemke. Thanks so much for joining us. It's now 6 o'clock for New York City and 5 o'clock in St. Louis. Let's begin by checking out weather conditions for the Northeast. And for a lot of you, it should be smooth sailing this morning heading off to work or school. And it's all compliments of a big dome of high pressure. With that high pressure anchored across eastern parts of Pennsylvania this morning, it's really helping to squelch any rain from forming. So we're sitting high and dry this morning from Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, all the way southward over towards Delaware and Maryland. One place, though, where it's been rather wet has been parts of the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Mid-Atlantic. There's a front snaking its way through this region, and the front continues to set off some showers and some storms. And we've had some very heavy rains overnight for parts of West Virginia. Now the heavier rains are shifting farther towards the south, affecting western fringes of Virginia. But with so much rain coming down and some excessive runoff, we're still seeing some localized flooding over parts of West Virginia, and a flood warning continues for Raleigh County in West Virginia. But aside from that, again, the rest of the Northeast looking pretty good this morning, so no significant weather woes. But throughout the day, because this front will not be budging very appreciably, we'll still be seeing more showers and more thunderstorms firing throughout the course of the afternoon. And again, with the rain quite heavy, we'll have to watch out for more localized conditions for New York City this morning and 50 for Boston. What can we expect throughout?
Pill researchers say may also be effective as a treatment for premenstrual syndrome. In a recent study of
Gearing up on this Thursday morning.
Chancing. Imus is up next, and I'll see you back here 1 hour from now with another update.
And some extra traveling time for today because we are seeing some showers and thunderstorms breaking out, so it's going to be a slow morning rush hour for some of you. And as if that weren't enough, we have some thick fog too, shrouding a large part of the Great Lakes back through the Ohio Valley. From Toledo and Cleveland southward towards Cincinnati, visibilities have been hovering close to 1/4 mile. But the main focus point today are fronts slicing across the Midwest. That's going to be serving as the focusing mechanism for more showers and storms. And we've had some heavy-duty ones breaking out overnight, rumbling from Iowa, now working through central parts of Illinois. And at least earlier this morning, some of these thunderstorms around Peoria and Knox counties in Illinois were rather severe in nature. For temperatures, it's 57 this hour for Minneapolis, 66 though for Chicago, and a balmy 77 for St. Louis. With that warm, moist, juicy air flowing in across the Midwest, watching out for more strong thunderstorms. They'll eventually slide over towards Chicago and Indianapolis later this afternoon. Rick?
In Chicago, here's a look at
Days for traveling. In fact, a large part of the country will see some showers and some thunderstorms today, and that will seriously days for traveling, as there will be some slow conditions for some of you. Well, we're going to be checking out some of the conditions as far as the rain is concerned. We're definitely seeing some rain showers this morning for parts of the Great Lakes and parts of the Appalachians. There's some rain breaking out there, and there has been some scattered showers too for parts of Oklahoma and Texas. But we'll watch this aerial coverage really building and expanding throughout the course of the afternoon. As the rain continues to work its way towards the south, we'll be seeing some showers, eventually sliding into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. And the Carolinas too will be getting into the act. Already this morning we've had a few spotty showers here and there, like around Fayetteville on into Greensboro, but we'll see even more numerous showers here later on this afternoon. And unfortunately, with the atmosphere very unstable, there's a high likelihood of seeing some severe weather. And at least if history dictates what's going to be happening, we could be seeing some really rough and tumble conditions, because over the last day or so we've had large reports of hailstones. There were some hailstones as big as golf balls for parts of the Midwest, and we could see again some very stormy, very tumultuous weather lasting through this afternoon. Now for the Northeast, not looking too bad for some of you. Actually a mix of clouds and sunshine likely from Burlington, Vermont through Hartford, Boston, and for New York City. But those big time thunderstorms will be firing up through the Ohio Valley later this afternoon and tonight. Maybe just a few spotty showers and thunderstorms too for Charlotte, so take along the rain gear today. But no rain to be found from Dallas all the way eastward through Atlanta, Georgia. The big thunderstorms rolling in across the Midwest, eventually sliding over towards Chicago and Indianapolis. But for California, in fine shape, pretty weather for San Francisco, and nice conditions too for Los Angeles. And now for more about traveling, here's Rick. Check out that 7-day business planner coming up. Back to First Outlook. It's now 20 minutes after the top of the hour. I'm Cheryl Lemke.
And I'm Rick Griffin. We appreciate you tuning in. Coming up in the 7-day planner, we'll see if there are any major weather changes that might bring some wet weather to Florida. But today, it's that fair weather system.
A chilly morning, but temperatures will start to moderate and modify throughout the course of the afternoon. And one thing working in our favor, it will stay very quiet, very tranquil throughout the northeastern states. We have high pressure building in across eastern Pennsylvania, now nosing in across New Jersey. And that high pressure is helping to squelch any rain from forming. So not too bad heading off to work or school this morning from Portland, Maine through Boston, through Hartford, back towards Philadelphia. Not a raindrop to be found. But where the rain has been in abundance has been parts of the Appalachians and the Ohio Valley. There's an old frontal boundary draped across this region, and the front continues to set off some showers and storms. And at least overnight we had some really soaking downpours for parts of West Virginia. So much so that we've had some localized flooding problems there since late last night. Now the rain's a little bit lighter in intensity though as we spread back towards North Carolina. Some scattered rains around Winston-Salem and the Greensboro area. Some rains too back towards the Outer Banks. And because this front is simply not going to be budging quickly through the afternoon, it will kind of lollygag, kind of wash back and forth here, and we'll likely see a few more scattered showers popping up for the Carolinas later this afternoon. But for the rest of the South, no rain to be found today. A lot of showers and thunderstorms, though, already breaking out this morning for parts of Iowa on into west central portions of Illinois. Nothing just yet for Chicago, but it's just a matter of time before those thunderstorms eventually target your area. So let's check out the forecast now in greater detail. Again, with high pressure camped overhead for the Northeast, most of you will be enjoying partly to mostly sunny skies later this afternoon. So not looking too bad from Burlington, Vermont and Concord, New Hampshire on into New York City and Poughkeepsie. And temperatures fairly much on track, at least for May standards. Highs topping off near 64 for New York City and up to 65 for Philadelphia. Be on guard, though, around the Ohio Valley. Heavier showers and thunderstorms sweeping through your area, and these will likely put out some locally heavy amounts of rain. There'll be a smattering of scattered showers, too, south and west of Washington, D.C., and perhaps some stormy, unsettled conditions, too, for Charlotte and for Raleigh-Durham. But where we need the rain, like in Georgia and Florida, unfortunately no rain to be had. It stays dry and very summery. The heat is on, highs near 90 for Atlanta and topping off upper 80s to lower 90s for West Palm Beach and Miami. It'll be a hot, toasty afternoon, too, for Houston and for Dallas. And again, with that warmth spreading its way northward, that will help to fuel some big-time thunderstorms, so watching out for some intense weather for St. Louis, Chicago, and eventually some stronger thunderstorms, too, working over towards Indianapolis. But behind the storm system, looking nice and delightful, a pretty day for Minneapolis, some sunshine, and temperatures mid-70s. And now let's check out the forecast for the next 7 days.
Very little chance of significant rain in Florida for several days.
Well, you're looking off to work this morning, heading into downtown New York City, no problems. A very quiet and a very dry rush hour at this time, moving in across the LIE. Pretty quiet, too, for Pittsburgh on into Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. And the same can also be said from down East Maine back to the Boston metro area. Now, the reason that we're seeing some tranquil weather across the Northeast is because high pressure is locked across the area, helping to squelch any rain from forming. But I'll tell you what, heading around the Ohio Valley and parts of the Appalachians, here we have been dealing with some scattered showers and storms this morning as an old frontal boundary meanders its way across this region. We've had some heavier rains now shifting in across the Appalachians, and there was some flooding problems overnight for portions of West Virginia, but at least there the rain is easing up somewhat. But throughout the afternoon, with our front not really budging very quickly, we'll probably see more of these showers and thunderstorms resuming later on today. And again, watching out because these could be putting out locally heavy rainfall, perhaps an inch or more in some places across the Ohio Valley. But the rest of the Northeast looking in fine shape today. Right now, 56 for Pittsburgh, 59 for Buffalo. Maybe just a light jacket or a sweater around the Boston metro area. You're waking up to about 50 with 45 for Albany. What can we expect later today? Well, most of you will enjoy a mix of clouds and sunshine across the area. area, and temperatures seasonably cool, 50s and 60s for the most part. But around the Ohio Valley and parts of the mid-Atlantic, definitely take along the rain gear. Showers and thunderstorms breaking out for you, and some of these could become quite intense, eventually spreading over towards Cincinnati a little bit later on today. Well, how's the weather gearing up across the southeast? Here's Rick. Well, right now we are seeing some stark weather contrasts across the Midwest. We're watching a front slicing its way across the nation's midsection, the cooler air poised to the north, but the warm, muggy air south of our frontal boundary. And right now we've been seeing some very toasty conditions. It was so warm yesterday, several record highs were set from Springfield, Illinois, back through St. Louis. Record highs in the lower 90s yesterday. Now, unfortunately, though, with that clash of the air masses, that is helping to set the stage for some heavier showers and thunderstorms. And we've had some fairly intense ones rumbling from Iowa, and they're continuing to work their way across the state of Illinois, at least this morning. For temperatures, again, a big contrast, ranging from 46 degrees from Marquette, cool temperatures back towards the Arrowhead of Minnesota, but 60s and 70s, though, from Des Moines, Iowa, and Omaha, southward towards Kansas City and St. Louis. So again, a clash of the air masses, and that will be fueling some heavier showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. From Kansas City, eventually back through Chicago and Indianapolis, you'll really watch the weather going downhill today, as these thunderstorms could be spawning some large hail, vivid lightning, and certainly some gusty winds as they sweep across the Midwest, so be on guard for that. And now for more, here's Rick.
On weather and financial news, you can check out the financial page of the Weather Channel's website. It's weather.com/financial.
And we're certainly getting very close to the June 4th premiere date of the Weather Channel's special series, Storm Week. Many of Storm Week, which runs from June 4th, which debuts on June 4th, that is, at 9 o'clock Eastern Time in the evening. And you'll see 4 nights of the most intense
Today that could have a major impact on your travel plans.
We'll be checking out storms and some really rough and tumble day for a lot of you, with numerous showers and thunderstorms lighting the radar picture. And we do see several clusters of showers and thunder showers breaking out on this early Thursday morning. There's some rain now sagging its way across the Appalachians, especially western fringes of Virginia this morning. And now some heavier rains, too, shifting over towards Jefferson in North Carolina. Some scattered lighter showers, though, on into Raleigh, Durham, and around the Winston-Salem area. Several more clusters of showers and thunderstorms building across the nation's midsection. And they're rumbling from Iowa, now streaming back towards around Peoria and Moline and around the Quad Cities area. And now some of that rain, too, has just started to invade Chicago, and that's just a sample of things to come. What can we expect throughout the day? Well, we have a front draped across the Midwest, and that front is simply not going to be budging very quickly. As it slowly sags off towards the south, we'll be seeing more showers and thunderstorms breaking out around that frontal boundary. And because the rainfall amounts could be rather heavy in some locations, watching out for some localized flooding over parts of the Midwest and across the Ohio Valley. Also, too, the atmosphere unstable, a chance for some strong and severe thunderstorms. But no such problem across the Northeast. A very quiet day for you around Boston, New York City, likewise for Philadelphia. Mainly dry, too, from Dallas through Tampa. Quiet conditions, too, for Atlanta. But again, intense showers and thunderstorms bearing down the Midwest through the afternoon. But luckily, it calms down as we head westward into California. And now for more about travel conditions, here's Rick.
The rain will be with you off and on over North Carolina, around Charlotte.
Be amazed at the injuries received by not wearing them.
We'll be back. Your weather today is coming up at the top of the hour.
And here's Kelly Cass with a look at what's coming up on today's show. And there are some active storms moving across the central part of the country. Dr. John Scala will take a look at the track of these storms and the potential for severe weather. Now here's Cheryl with a look at Storm Watch. Well, going hand in hand with the spring weather season is the threat for some thunderstorms. And indeed, we'll likely see some very stormy, very unsettled conditions lasting this afternoon through tonight. And our primary concern zone will be across the Central Rockies, the Central Plain states, the Mid-Mississippi Valley, back through the Ohio Valley, and even parts of the Mid-South will get into the act with some stronger thunderstorms, we think, breaking out later this afternoon. But especially be on guard from the Texas Panhandle up towards around St. Louis, perhaps to around Chicago and Indianapolis. You are in the red zone, meaning severe weather is a distinct possibility for today, and these strong thunderstorms will likely be spawning some large hail and very gusty winds, too, as they sweep across the Midwest. Now, another aftermath, or another byproduct from these showers and storms will be heavy amounts of rain. And so far, we've had some soakers overnight over parts of West Virginia. Now the heavier rains, though, shifting southward across parts of the Appalachians. But indeed, there will be pockets of an inch or better of rainfall today, and that could spawn some localized flooding over parts of the nation's heartland. Right now, some bright white clouds enveloping parts of the plain states. That's showing us the most intense thunderstorms. And we've had some nasty thunderstorms rumbling their way from Iowa and now sliding in across the state of Illinois. Why all the stormy weather? Well, it's because a front continues to slice its way across the nation's midsection, and the front is really serving as a demarcation line between some cooler weather to the north and the warm, sticky, humid tropical air across the south. It was so warm yesterday, in fact, out ahead of the storm system, that we had several record highs that were set, including Hill City, Kansas, up to 96, Peoria, Illinois, and St. Louis, too, setting new record highs yesterday, all the way up to a blistering 93 degrees. So there is a big, sharp temperature contrast on either side of this front, and so that will help to fuel some of these heavier showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon. For the northeast, though, very quiet in comparison, thanks to high pressure ridging in across this area. We'll be seeing some dry conditions and overall some nice conditions from down east Maine through Boston, and fairly quiet too for Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and for New York City. But as right along that front, we're seeing some scattered showers. The rain now has been shifting out of West Virginia. Still some rain, though, clipping in through western fringes of Virginia at this time, and some heavier downpours working their way over through Jefferson, North Carolina. Now, speaking of the Carolinas, as this front kind of lollygags across North and South Carolina during the afternoon, it'll serve as the focus for more scattered showers. But that will be the exception, as the rest of the southeast will stay high and dry, so more bad news for the drought-stricken areas like Georgia and Florida. Not a raindrop to be found during the afternoon. But where the rain could be rather generous is across the Midwest. And already we've had clusters of showers and thunder showers this morning for parts of western Kansas. More thunderstorms, though, lifting up towards Burlington, Iowa. We've had some rain, too, for Peoria and Moline, Illinois. And now some of that rain is starting to invade Chicago. And that's just a sample of things to come. As our front continues to draw closer, more showers and more thunderstorms will be likely. And especially on the south side of town, we'll have to watch out for the possibility of severe weather. So really a rough and tumble day gearing up for parts of the Midwest. Now, as we head westbound, though, the weather does start to calm down. Nice weather from Seattle southward over towards San Diego and Los Angeles. But still across the Intermountain West, a little disturbance working through this area will likely set off a few scattered showers or thunder showers, and some of those may eventually impact Denver a little bit later. But the worst weather, without a doubt, right across the Plain States. More stormy conditions, too, back through the Ohio Valley. So definitely take along the rain gear today. Chicago, St. Louis, and Indianapolis. It'll certainly come in handy. How long will these thunderstorms last? Will they last for the upcoming? Look, thank you so much for watching us, and stay tuned now for your weather today.
Good morning. I'm Chris Jansing. Imus will be right back, but first a look at the day's top stories. President Bush heads to Minnesota with his murdered wife was called off yesterday because of a media swarm that showed up outside the Los Angeles funeral home. Blake's lawyer says the actor was afraid there would be a riot. Navy spy plane held in China will be honored tomorrow at Andrews Air Force Base outside of Washington. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld will present them with the Air Force Medal for Heroism, and the pilot, Lieutenant, bringing new meaning to the term higher learning. Elementary school principal Chris Jansing. A little later on MSNBC Live, we'll review a Florida jury's decision 7 Pacific. Hope you can join us then. And Imus will be right back.
Center. I'm Rick Griffin.
And I'm Cheryl Lemke. Thanks for joining us. We certainly have the potential for more strong thunderstorms today across the Midwest. And let's check out the driving force behind those thunderstorms. Some very high dew points on tap for today. Now, at the same time, too, we have some very strong winds aloft. A very strong jet stream carving a path across the nation's midsection, and those jet stream winds will help to drive in one disturbance after another. So the bottom line, the weather ingredients are coming together for a round of some very heavy showers and strong thunderstorms. They'll be rumbling from the central plain states and spreading their way across the Ohio Valley through later this afternoon. Having said that, let's check out the current weather scene, and we definitely see our front slicing its way across the nation's midsection, and already some heavier showers and thunderstorms have been breaking out. Some of the worst weather conditions right now bearing down on central parts of Illinois, and we have a warning out for Effingham County at this present time. Again, clusters of showers and thunderstorms working from Iowa, spreading back towards Peoria and Rockford, Illinois, and more thunderstorms spreading over towards Champaign and Urbana. And this pretty much will be the case for a good part of the afternoon, with these showers and thunderstorms spreading eastbound. So it hasn't happened just yet for those of you in Indianapolis, but you too will eventually see some heavier thunderstorms, and in time those thunderstorms will also be approaching Cincinnati and Lexington, Kentucky a little bit later on for today. For temperatures, though, not looking too bad across the Midwest. Definitely some warm, moist air, though, flowing northward, and already we're sitting in the 70s for Kansas City back through St. Louis. So it will be that warm, moist air that will help to fuel those heavier showers and thunderstorms. So here's your forecast for Thursday. Thunderstorms erupting today from Kansas City, eventually rumbling over through St. Louis. More stormy conditions, too, for Chicago, especially the south side of town. And again, the thunderstorms pressing over towards Indianapolis and Terre Haute, back over towards Louisville a little bit later. Luckily, though, behind our storm system, a nice improvement. We'll be seeing some fair skies for Green Bay, Racine, Wisconsin, back through Minneapolis, and temperatures comfortable mid-70s for the Twin Cities. Well, what about the weather conditions across the southeast? For more about that, here's Rick. Some cool temperatures and some rather cloudy conditions for parts of the northeast today, but some places will also see some showers and perhaps even some thunderstorms. Here's the latest weather map for the northeast, and right now, though, all things are looking fairly quiet for most locales. High pressure is still building over portions of New England, and the high pressure is helping to really put a squelch on any rain from forming. So you're still basically high and dry from down east Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire all the way southward towards the nation's capital. But with this disturbance working its way around the Ohio Valley, it has been spreading in some moisture from the west, and we are seeing some light rain now flaring up for Erie, Pennsylvania, and some rain showers too back over towards Jamestown and around Lake Chautauqua. We'll likely see a little bit more rain action today for southwestern New York State, perhaps a few scattered showers, perhaps even some thunderstorms too southward over towards Pittsburgh, but that will be the exception, as the rest of the northeast will be pretty much unscathed for today. Heaviest rains we expect across parts of the Midwest, back through the Ohio Valley and parts of the central Appalachians. You'll likely see some generous downpours through this afternoon and tonight, perhaps an inch or more in some places. So because there will be some locally heavier rains, do watch out for some localized flooding over parts of the Ohio Valley later on. For temperatures, it's kind of cool across New England. 43 for Caribou, Maine, 47 for Bangor, Maine. Grab a jacket or a sweater before venturing out. A little bit milder, though, for Cincinnati with 70 and 66 right now for Charleston, West Virginia. What can we expect? Well, through the afternoon, some seasonably cool temperatures with 50s and 60s for most of you. Again, the moisture will start to spread in from the west. Do expect some later afternoon thunderstorms around the Pittsburgh area. Heaviest weather, though, back through the Ohio Valley. And it will likely be a few scattered showers, too, flaring up south and west of the nation's capital. Although for Washington, D.C. itself, we're expecting partly sunny skies with your high temperatures mid-60s. Well, what about the weather across the west? Here's Rick with an update. Yet to come. Don't go away. We'll check out the weekly planner and much more right after this. It's going to be a rough and tumble day for a lot of you across the nation's midsection. Lots of showers and thunderstorms breaking out through this afternoon, and already some severe thunderstorm warnings have been posted for parts of Illinois and Indiana. Well, let's check out the latest weather map. Now, the culprit behind all this very stormy, unsettled weather continues to be a low-pressure system that's draped across the Midwest. Actually, it's a fairly complex system because we have a series of low-pressure areas all connecting to a frontal boundary, parts of the front dangling their way across the Carolinas, but the front also stretches across Nebraska and Kansas. And this front is basically serving as the demarcation line between some cooler air poised to the north and the warm, sticky, sultry air across the south. And therein lies the problem. Two diametrically opposed air masses are coming together, a big clash of the air masses, and the end result, heavier showers and thunderstorms. And again, we've had some nasty weather already this morning for Illinois, and that's just a sample of things to come. Well, some of that moisture, too, has now invaded portions of western New York State and western Pennsylvania. A few spotty showers popping up around Jamestown, New York, and running back towards Erie, Pennsylvania. That's going to be the exception, though, because we do foresee most of the northeast will stay fairly quiet. With high pressure camped across the lower Hudson Valley, you'll be seeing a mix of clouds and sunshine for a good part of the afternoon from Maine through Vermont and New Hampshire. Same story, too, for Worcester and Norwood, Massachusetts, and Boston, back over towards Philadelphia and for New York City. Now, across the southeast, though, the trailing end of our front will likely set off a few more hit and miss scattered showers across the Carolinas. We've had a little bit of rain so far this morning for Goldsboro, North Carolina. Scattered showers, too, back over towards the Winston-Salem area. We'll see a few more numerous showers popping up here later today. But for the rest of the southeast, we can't even buy a raindrop. It stays high and dry. And with those arid conditions, we're still watching out for some major drought and some major wildfires breaking out across portions of the southeast. Now, across the Midwest, though, a totally different story. There's been some showers this morning for western Kansas, some scattered showers too back through Ottumwa and Burlington, Iowa, but the more intense thunderstorms are right now bearing down on eastern parts of Illinois and western portions of Indiana. We have warnings out for Jasper and Effingham counties in Illinois, and we also have some new warnings just posted now for Tippecanoe County here in western Indiana. Now, there is a warning because we have been seeing some strong thunderstorms across this area, and these thunderstorms have the capability of spawning some hail, very gusty winds, so watch out today, some threatening conditions developing across the Midwest. Although farther towards the west, things are calming down. Should be some nice weather, we think, today for most of California, so get out and enjoy. Well, let's check out the forecast now in greater detail. Here's Rick. Pollen is concerned. With a warmer temperature spreading in across the country, some very high levels for pollen. And also, too, of concern is the fact that with the increased heat and humidity, that will certainly affect the way you feel. So if you are weather sensitive, kind of take it slow and easy because the heat index can be rather taxing, especially across the southern tier of states. And now for those of you who suffer from allergies, here's more information regarding allergies. And I'm Cheryl Lemke. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, we certainly have the potential for more strong thunderstorms across the Midwest later today. And let's take a look at the driving force behind those strong thunderstorms. For one thing, we have several weather ingredients coming together, all teaming forces to produce some really soaking rains and some nasty thunderstorms. Quite a bit of low-level moisture and some high dew points are streaming northward from the Gulf. A very strong jet stream also slicing across the Midwest. And you combine that with an upper air disturbance, and that spells trouble across the Midwest. Again, strong thunderstorms, severe weather, and the possibility for some localized flooding. It's all a distinct possibility today throughout portions of the Midwest. And let's check out the latest weather map now for the nation's heartland. We are tracking a cold front slicing through parts of eastern Nebraska on into western Kansas, and our front kind of meandering its way back towards the Ohio Valley. You'll find the cooler air poised to the north, the warm, sticky, sultry air, though, south of this frontal boundary. And it's been so toasty, we had lots of record highs that were set out ahead of this storm system yesterday. Case in point, St. Louis, all the way up to a blistering 93 degrees yesterday. Hill City, Kansas, topped off with 96. So again, some very toasty air to be found. And it's that warm, moist, muggy air flowing up and over our frontal boundary that's been setting the stage for some showers and thunderstorms. So far, the most intense weather continues for parts of Illinois and over portions of west central Indiana. We still have some warnings out for Tippecanoe County here in Indiana, which does include those of you in Lafayette, Indiana. We've had some warnings, too, for Jasper and Effingham counties across Illinois. So again, some really nasty weather, these showers and thunderstorms blasting off towards the east-southeast. Temperature-wise, there is a sharp contrast. Cooling into the 40s behind our storm system. Meanwhile, it's 61 for Sioux Falls, 67 for Omaha and for Lincoln, Nebraska, and balmy 70s from Kansas City back through St. Louis. So what can we expect throughout the afternoon? Well, again, with that front slowly easing off towards the east, the threat for severe weather will also be shifting off towards the east. So from Kansas City through St. Louis, the south side of Chicago, back over towards Indianapolis and Muncie, back over towards Cincinnati, keep a watchful eye to the sky. The weather definitely going downhill later on today. The more encouraging news, though, behind our storm system, a nice clearing, some beautiful weather from Green Bay through Minneapolis. You'll be enjoying some sunshine, temperatures mid-70s. Well, let's check out the weather now across the south. Here's Rick.
It's going to feel
and a rather cloudy day for parts of the northeast, and some places will likely see some showers and perhaps even some thunderstorms this morning from Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, all the way southward towards Delaware and Maryland. Although some places have been dodging a few rain showers this morning. With our front snaking its way across the mid-Atlantic and in the Ohio Valley, it has been touching off a few spotty showers this morning, and there has been some rain starting to invade southwestern parts of New York State around Jamestown and Lake Chautauqua. We've had some spotty rain action too for Altoona back through Erie, Pennsylvania. That's really the exception, though, as most of the northeast will stay high and dry through the afternoon. But as we head back towards the Ohio Valley, parts of the Appalachians and mid-Atlantic, some of the rain that does come down today could be locally heavy, perhaps an inch or more in some places. So do watch out for some localized flooding. For temperatures, grab a heavier jacket across portions of New England. Rather chilly, 46 right now for Caribou, Maine, 49 for Bangor, 54 though for Boston, and 55 for New York City. Through the afternoon, most of you will enjoy a mix of clouds and sunshine. Temperatures seasonably cool, 50s and 60s, but from western New York, western Pennsylvania, back through the Ohio Valley, again showers and thunderstorms on the increase through the afternoon. And what about the western states? For more about that, here's Rick.
Well,
Week begins here on the Weather Channel on June 4th.
in Illinois. Find out where they're headed next. Coming up.
Then as we approach the weekend, we're tracking the storm system draped across the Midwest. Well, that storm system will take its good old sweet time, but at any rate, it will slowly be easing off towards the east, spreading a large swath of showers and thunderstorms as it does so. For Saturday, look at that, a chance for something we haven't seen for quite a while, perhaps some rain showers invading the deep south. From Jackson, Mississippi and Tupelo, back through Birmingham, perhaps too affecting Atlanta, Georgia, some scattered showers may be gearing up for your Saturday. Things, though, calming down around the Ohio Valley back towards portions of the Northeast, although still some leftover showers cannot be ruled out for portions of New England. By Sunday, high pressure resuming itself across the Northeast, keeping it fairly quiet here as we wrap up the weekend. Some scattered showers, though, flaring up throughout the Midwest, and that could impact your travels around Chicago, Kansas City, and St. Louis. And here comes another batch of showers and thunderstorms likely across the deep south for Sunday afternoon. For temperatures, well, it's been fairly warm across the south. We don't really foresee any changes here. Lots of 80s and 90s today through tomorrow. Sweltering hot 100s, though, for parts of western Texas. And the heat continues to rage on for Tucson and Phoenix, Arizona. But if you're not too fond of the hot weather, the place to go to escape the heat is across the Pacific Northwest. We have a trough moving inland here and temperatures tumbling behind that storm system. We're talking about highs 50s and 60s for much of the Pacific Northwest and spreading out across the Rockies. For Saturday, maybe some moderation taking place, but still some warm weather to be found across the Gulf coastal region. And then on Sunday, the 80s and 90s across the south, 60s and 70s across the Ohio Valley, and turning downright chilly for parts of the Rockies.